Guys, welcome to the Easter Marketing Bootcamp. If we haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Brady. I'm the founder and CEO of Church Candy. And today's Easter Marketing Bootcamp is all going to be about two things: how to fill your church's Easter services, and then how to get more guests to come back. I'm so excited to be jumping in here with you all today. I haven't shared this story much, and so I wanted to take an opportunity here because a lot of you guys might not even know this. But back in 2019, I actually planted a church with some really good friends of ours. And so I started day one as the youth pastor at this church. And like, look at that hair, guys. Like, it's, I don't want to, I'm like rocking a buzz cut these days. But we had a youth ministry, is thriving. And then even throughout COVID, like it was amazing. I really do miss student ministry. All my old youth pastors in the chat say, what up? But, you know, a lot of you guys know that youth pastors, especially with a church plant, don't really get paid much. And so for my, I was just a volunteer youth pastor, but then for my day job, I was actually running Facebook ads for businesses. A lot of chiropractors we were helping all across the country use Facebook and Instagram ads to get new business. And one day my pastor asked me, he's like, Brady, is there any way you could run some Facebook ads for the church? We want to get some new people in. And I was like, yeah, man, absolutely. And so we had this big event it was coming up. I had a $500 budget. And I was like, we're going to crush it, man. Like we were running this Facebook event ad, and we had so many people like saying that they were interested, you know, like Facebook events, how someone can say they're interested. Dude, we had like hundreds and hundreds of people saying they're interested. The day comes, and we show up, and there were literally 0 people that showed up from the ads. 0 people. It was just $500 wasted down the drain. And I was embarrassed. I had felt like in my heart a while back when I was at Bible college that like maybe God was calling me to help churches use social media and use ads to get people in the door. And I started questioning God, like, hey, is this not what you called me to? Like, did I miss you? Like, what's going on? And thankfully, my pastor didn't give up on me. And we had another event coming up, and he gave me another $500. And eventually, I was able to get things dialed in, and we started getting new guests. We started having people show up to our church. And one thing led to another. I had other pastors send me direct messages asking if I could help them with their church and help run ads for their church. And today, we've got a full team of people that help the local church use Facebook and Instagram ads to get new guests. And a lot of you guys might have heard this before, but I'm on a mission to connect 1 million people to a local church. And I'm proud to announce that as of today, we have connected over 375,000 people to churches all across the country using Facebook and Instagram ads. Like, I just want to give God some glory there, because I literally went from running a Facebook ad campaign and wasting money on it, thinking, okay, maybe God like can't use Facebook and Instagram ads to get people into the local church. But no, guys, today I want to tell you right now that God can use Facebook and Instagram ads to get people into the local church. We've connected over 375,000 people to churches all over the country, and Canada, and even Central America too. Like, God has just been so amazing in all of this. And I'm excited to bring with you a lot of the things that we've found along the way and how you can implement them in your church this Easter season. Now, I'm going to be covering a lot of content, and I was actually really bummed when I was making these slides. I had to take out a lot of things that I wanted to cover, but I put it all together in a workbook for you. I want you guys to download the Easter Marketing Playbook. You should go to churchcandy.com/Easter and get the playbook that goes along with this. There's a lot of things that I wanted to cover that I wasn't able to just for time purposes. And so get the playbook. It's just churchcandy.com/Easter, or you can scan the QR code and you'll be able to get that there. So there's a lot of really, really good things in there. But really what it comes down to, what we're going to be covering today is, with Easter, number one, how do we get them there? And then number two, how do we get them to come back? Those are the two things that we're going to be looking at. Now with all of that, you kind of have two methods. And I don't know about you guys. I'm from Texas. I grew up hunting with my grandparents. I used to go hunting with my grandpa all the time. And if I was going to go hunting with a rifle, I'm going to be honest, I'm not the best shot, because you pull the trigger once and just one bullet comes out, compared to if we were hunting for like duck hunting or whatever. I'd rather use the shotgun, because you pull the trigger and you have a lot of tiny little bullets that come out. So you have a higher likelihood of hitting your target. And so, with that being said, you have to look at marketing for your church. You want to use a shotgun and not a rifle. The thing is, you can't just send one email out to your list and think, all right, we did it. We invited people to church. You can't just, boost one post on Facebook or Instagram and think, all right, we did it. No, like the secret to getting a lot of people to your church is volume. It's volume. Research shows that it takes an average of 8 touch points before someone ever even makes the decision on coming to your church or not. Think about that. 8 touch points. So just one Facebook ad is not going to cut it, right? Just one person inviting them to church, it's not going to cut it. And so you have to take a lot of different strategies together and use them. And the main one we're going to be talking about today is meta ads. When I say meta ads, I'm referring to Facebook and Instagram ads. Now, what I love about running ads on Facebook and Instagram is it reminds me of this verse from 1 Corinthians, where Paul is saying, I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the growth. Because all of these ads on Facebook and Instagram you're just planting seeds. Or maybe you're watering seeds that people before you have planted in these people's lives. And if we can put it in perspective a little bit, because I know a lot of people are like, yeah, I've tried Facebook ads for our church. We spent $100 and we didn't see anyone, so we don't do Facebook ads anymore. Facebook ads don't work for us. I want to put some things in perspective for you. Guess in the chat, in 2024, how much money do you think Meta made from ads? We don't have the numbers yet from 2025. So how much money do you think in 2024 did Facebook and Instagram make from ads? You can ask in the chat or answer in the chat. What do you think? Okay. $160.6 billion. Think about that. $160.6 billion were spent on ads in 2024. Man, if I can just get Mark Zuckerberg to come to my church and start tithing, amen, hallelujah, come on somebody. Now, let's think about that. Just to give you some perspective, that's $440 million every single day. And that means that every single hour, there's $18.3 million that are spent on ads. And we break that down in the minute, it's $305,000 per minute. And every single second, there is $5,000 being spent on ads. In fact, Meta has made $2.4 million since I started this session. And why do I show you this? It's to put it in perspective, the sheer number and volume of people that are buying eyeballs on Facebook and Instagram. Because that's what it means when you're buying ads, you're buying attention, you're buying eyeballs of people in your city. And so whenever you buy these ads on Meta, you're not just competing with other churches. You're really not competing with other churches. You're competing with hundreds of thousands of other businesses buying ads and buying eyeballs for people in your city. And it's not just local business. It's people all over, national, worldwide companies buying the attention of people in your city that you're having to compete with. And so with that in mind, I want to cover some mistakes that I see a lot of churches make. The number one, I didn't even put it on here. You're running ads to people that aren't in your city. Guys, Meta knows that I love Facebook and Instagram ads. Meta knows that I love churches. And so it's like anytime I'm like 2 weeks before Easter, I start getting bombarded with ads from churches all over the country because they aren't setting things up properly. The minimum that you need to do is like show ads to people within driving distance of your church. That's the minimum. That's free game for you. That's not even in my notes because hopefully everyone on here, I've got 270 people live. Hopefully all of you guys would never do that. I hope so. But so we got Pay and pray. So this is people that they make a post on Facebook, they make a post on Instagram, and they click that boost post button. And they're paying Facebook and praying that people will show up. And I'm not going to lie, it's not a terrible strategy. Because, like, at least you're praying over the ads. And, like, the power of God might be able to at least move some people into your local church. But, hey, I like to say we're going to pray like it's all on God, but then we're going to work like it's all on us. Amen? So let's actually put in some fruitful work ourselves to make sure we're doing things efficiently. The second thing is Facebook event ads. These Facebook event ads are the ads on Facebook where you have the people that click interested. This is what I did back in the day and wasted so much money because there's low commitment. You can't follow up with these people. And then the other one would be overproduced commercials. The thing is, if people see a video that you make inviting them to church, and if it looks like a commercial, like you're using a fancy camera, like I have on Zoom, and you've got the lower thirds with your name on it and all of that, if it looks like an ad, if it looks like you're trying to sell them something, they're going to keep scrolling. They're not going to engage because it looks like an ad. People don't want to just consume commercials, right? And so you don't want it to look overproduced. But some of the best ads that we have seen work time and time again. Out of the 375,000 people that we've connected to churches all across the country, it is this right here, the Plan Your Visit instant form ads. Now, these Plan Your Visit ads, the way it works is you'll invite people to actually plan a visit to your church before they visit. You give them a call to action right then to click on the ad and fill out a form giving you their name, email, and phone number. Now, why would anyone do this? Why would anyone just give you their email before visiting your church? Most of my staff are Gen Z, and they're like, Brady, why? I don't think I'm someone that would just give my email if I'm like looking to visit a new church. And I hear you. Like most of the time, I'm not too. But here's when we see it work really, really well. So, for example, recently I was looking for a new gym, and some of you guys might have heard this story before. I was looking for a new gym, and my sister's going on and on about CrossFit. She's like, Brady, I think you would really like it. My sister doesn't live near me, and so I started looking for CrossFit gyms in my area, and I find one just down the road, and I'm looking at their Instagram, and I'm thinking like, man, this looks cool. I definitely want to check it out. But then like I start getting some doubt in my mind, like, I don't know. These guys look like they're all really in shape. Like I'm not in the best shape of my life. Or like, man, like CrossFit, you guys might have even heard that it's like a cult. Like the community is so tight and it's this tight knit CrossFit family or whatever. And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, am I going to show up and be like the outsider? Like I'm coming into this outside community. Man, I really wish I could connect with like a trainer or someone that goes to this gym beforehand so that like I at least know someone when I'm showing up and just make me like feel a little bit more comfortable. And then I thought to myself, oh my goodness, this is what people feel like before they visit church on Sundays. Before they visit your church, they're looking at your church online and they see all of your verbiage on your website about how you're a family and it's this tight-knit community, and they're scared that they're going to feel like the outsider. Or they think to themselves, man, I'm not as spiritual as all these other people, right? They might not understand God's grace, and they think all the things I've done, I feel like God's gonna, I had a friend tell me this, all the things I've done, I feel like God's gonna strike me with lightning the second I step into a church. And so they feel like they're not as spiritually fit, just like how I felt like I wasn't as physically fit to go to this CrossFit gym. I didn't want to feel like an outsider. People, before they visit your church, people before they visit your church, they're going to feel like they might be not as spiritual as everyone else. And so this is where the Plan Your Visit ad comes into play, because you can straight up say on the ads, hey, we know it's intimidating visiting a church where you don't know anyone, and that's why we want you and the family to feel welcomed. So you can plan a visit below, and we'll connect before Sunday so you and the whole family feel welcomed. Because the best marketing enters the conversation that people are already having in their heads. right? So we know the objections that people have before they visit your church. So let's be intentional about addressing those concerns on the front end before they ever step foot into your church. And that's where the plan your visit strategy comes into place, because you're able to connect with people and make them feel welcomed before they ever even step foot onto your church campus. And so 30,000 foot view, here's how it works. You run ads on Facebook and Instagram, inviting people to church. You tell them, hey, we know it's intimidating visiting a church if you don't know anyone, right? You want to enter that conversation they're already having in their head. And then you invite them to plan a visit, to fill out a form, giving their name, email, and phone number. And then this is the big part. You got to follow up with them, right? You can't say on the ad, oh, plan a visit, let us know you're coming. We're going to make sure the whole family feels welcome so you don't feel intimidated visiting a church you don't know. You can't say that and then not follow up with them. You can't say that and then just send an automated text that has no personal touch or no back and forth conversation at all, right? And then from there, you'll get a new guest. And guys, I want to remind you, this isn't theory, right? This isn't like a college course on marketing theory. No, this is like actual strategy that we've seen work with over 1,000 churches. Pastor David Franklin with Incredible Church last year saw an extra 450 people for their church. And they were a brand new church plant. Lifehouse Church, Pastor John Ware, with this, even outside of Easter, they saw 58 new families in just 8 weeks. And then Connect Church, my good friend Pastor Ken Bennett, their church went from 120 people to over 1,000 members in just 18 months. And guys, I've seen God do this time and time again. In fact, at churchcandy.com/proof, we have over 100 testimony videos of how God is using social media ads to connect people to the local church. And lives are being changed. People are giving their lives to the Lord. People are getting baptized. And it is just so cool to see. And I'm so honored that we get to be on the forefront of this and helping so many churches with this. And these strategies I'm showing you are not just theory, guys. It is working today with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of churches. Now let's go to the basics. How do we actually film these video ads? What do we need, Brady? What do we need to do? I don't know if you guys remember this. Does anyone know what this is or remember this? I feel like I might have been the only person with this DVR. So it's called a TiVo. And to my knowledge, TiVo was like one of the first consumer grade DVR products to hit the market. It was really big in the early to mid 2000s. And it was a DVR, right? And so you're able to record your TV shows and go back and watch them later. And for me as a kid, it was so cool because like I didn't have to watch commercials, right? Like I was able to just record SpongeBob and then fast forward to commercials and then just enjoy my show. And it's almost like that planted the seed to program the wiring in my brain to where now anytime I see a commercial, I just skip it, right? And so people, when they see content on social media, and if it looks like you're trying to sell them something, they immediately just swipe away, right? So you don't want it to look like an ad. The best ads do not look like ads. So some really like basic practical things, right? Record your videos vertically, not horizontally, right? You want to edit the video like it's an Instagram reel. Maybe add some captions. Really, that's it. Cut out dead space. There's not much more you need to do. And keep the video under 60 seconds. If you do that, I guarantee you your ads are going to perform 90% better than most of the other content out there. But you have to keep in mind that I'm not making a commercial. I'm making an ad inviting people to church. And a problem I see a lot of churches make, is they emphasize aesthetics or they emphasize excellence. So they make it like it's an announcement video, right? You know, when you record an announcement video and you use the nice camera like this, and you've got the background music and you've got the lower thirds and you do all this and it looks like a commercial. Well, the thing is, you got to know your audience. And you got to know the context of that, because when you're showing an announcement video on a Sunday to your congregation, those people are already there. They already are bought in. They know you. The context is a lot different. And so you don't want to let your desire for excellence and, we got to use the nice camera. We got to do all the editing. We got to do all this because it looks nice, right? Don't let aesthetics or desire for excellence sacrifice effectiveness, right? Because if you can just double down on making your ads look like Instagram Reels, just organic vertical video, it's going to dramatically outperform any overproduced commercial that you make. So Brady, what do we say in the ads? What do we say? So here in a second, I'm going to show you how to actually write your video script. And this, you can use the exact same thing for the actual ad text, the ad copy in the Easter invite ad as well. So you can use the same text for both. So if you want to take a picture of this, take a screenshot, you can. It says, are you looking for a church in city name this Easter? I want to invite you to church name. At church name, we're all about, and here you want to put in a unique reason why someone would want to visit. This might be your mission statement. Our kids ministry is safe, clean, and fun for your little ones. We have Easter services on, and there you'll say the date and time. I know visiting a church where you don't know anyone can be intimidating, and that's why when you plan your visit below, our team will reach out before Easter so the whole family feels welcomed. You can tap below to plan a visit, and we can't wait to see you Easter Sunday. All right? Now, when you do this, you're following a framework that we have made, and it starts by stopping the scroll with a strong hook. And so that hook was saying, are you looking for a church in city name this Easter? When you do this, it's going to do a couple things. Number one, anyone living in your city, when you say the name of your city, you say the name of your town, it automatically shows them, oh, this is local. Like this content is local for me. And then, are you looking for a church? Is going to speak to those people that are looking for a church this Easter. And then the second thing, after you stop the scroll with a strong hook, you want to inform them about your church. Now, this is where a lot of churches will ramble and go on and on and on. No, you want to keep it just 4 to 5 sentences about your church and your Easter services. Talk about why people like your church. You want to mention your kids' ministry and give a brief sentence or two on the service times and location, that info. So here was the example I gave you. I want to invite you to church name. At church name, we're all about the unique reason why someone would want to visit. We're all about empowering people to live the best life God made them, or something like that, right? Our kids' ministry is safe, clean, and fun for your little ones. And we have Easter services on, and then you'll say the date and times, right? So that is informing them about your church. Then you want to meet them where they're at. Now, this is where the marketing psychology comes into play, where you want to enter that conversation they're already having in their head. This is why we're intentionally saying, I know visiting a church where you don't know anyone can be intimidating. That's why when you plan your visit below, our team will reach out before Easter so the whole family feels welcomed. Now, when you do this, you are entering the conversation that they're already having in their head. You're addressing that objection on not knowing anyone whenever they visit, right? And then the plan your visit CTA. All right. Simple as you can tap below to plan a visit. We can't wait to see you on Easter Sunday. Now, easy acronym for this is SIMP, S-I-M-P. Now, don't tell your Gen Z kids this acronym because they're going to laugh at you. But it's all good. When you're doing this, you want to record. You can record IMP by itself. That's like a base video. And then you record several hooks, the S, separately. So each hook has its own ad. And so now you have multiple variations of the same invite ad. Does that make sense to everyone? So now you can take this framework, but create a ton of different variations by creating multiple hooks. All right. And so I've got an easy triple F hook framework I want to share with you guys that'll help you come up with what do you say in the beginning of the video for these. And you want a ton of ad variations to increase the likelihood of your ads performing well, because you can test those ads and then figure out what's working the best. So faith, family, fellowship. I bet that might be the name of someone's church on this call. It's Faith Family Fellowship Church. Let's start with faith. Hey, are you looking for a church in city name, right? You're addressing faith, people that are searching, looking for a church. You got family, parents, looking for something to do with the kids in the city this Easter, right? Looking for something to do with the kids in Springfield this Easter. And then fellowship, looking for a community that feels like family this Easter, right? Whenever you say this, you are speaking to individual felt needs of people, right? Parents are always looking for something to do with the kids. Fellowship, people that feel lonely, they're searching for community. You do this well, and what you'll be able to do is have a good amount of ad variations that you can run side by side and split test against each other and see which one performs the best. And then from there, you take the winner, you take the ad that performs the best, and you put more money behind that one. Or you even go and create more ad variations behind that. This is something that we've seen work time and time again for tons of churches. Now, on top of videos, we also recommend running some ads that are just with images instead of videos. You want to do both, right? The shotgun approach. I don't want you to just make one ad. You got to create a bunch, run them side by side, and see which one's working the best. So my recommendation for the image ads, use real pictures, real images, just showing what Sundays are like in your church. And then you want a headline that will invite people to church, right? So here are some examples for you. And I actually made a handful that you can steal and use yourself. Switch these images out. As much as I love, this is a picture of me giving announcements at my church. As much as I would love for you to use that, this is just an example for you guys. You can go to churchcandy.com/Easter-images to get that, or scan the QR code to grab this Canva template. I did the hard work for you. So again, you want to keep it simple. You can change the colors. I just tried to make it look like Easter colors in there. But what I love about this is you're able to create a lot of variations at scale. And some churches will run this, and for whatever reason, their video ads just dramatically outperform the images. And then other ones will run them side by side, and the images dramatically outperform the videos. And so this is your opportunity to really just go in and do a split test to see which one's going to perform the best, right? And now, big question on everyone's mind. Okay, Brady, how much does this cost? How much do I need to spend on ads to actually get people in the door, right? And really my answer to this, because I get asked this all the time, how much money should I spend on ads to get new guests? The thing is, I'm going to tell a church of 50 people and a church of 500 people and a church of 5,000 people, all dramatically different answers, right? So it depends on your church's context, and it depends on your goal, right? You can go to churchcandy.com/calculator, and we built a calculator to help walk you through this because, again, it all comes down to your context, right? Let's say you wanted to get 100 guests coming to your church. On average, we found every family that plans a visit, it's about 2.5 people between kids and all of that, spouses. And then an estimated show rate. Let's say out of everyone that plans a visit, half of them show up. And then you're spending about $10 as a cost per lead, which is how much money you're spending to actually get people in the doors. What's your cost per lead, cost per family to plan a visit? Press calculate, and this will tell you, hey, to get 100 new guests, if 50% show up, and you're spending $10 every time a family plans a visit, we recommend an ad budget of $800. So you spend $800 with these stats, and you would have 100 people walk through your door for Easter. So you can play around with this. Honestly, like right here where it says the show rate, if someone's going to your church's website and they go to Google and they're looking for your church, the intent there is really high. So they're looking for your church. But the volume's going to be low. You're not going to have as many people do this. So yeah, you might have the people that plan to visit from Google, a 90% chance they're going to show up. Whereas Facebook and Instagram, we'll start down here, if you're just using automated follow-up, I'm going to be honest, the 20-30% is pretty generous. It might be closer to 5 to 10%, like just with automated follow-up. And these numbers have changed just because people are more skeptical, and the effect of personal follow-up just goes so far, guys. It really does just make such a big difference. And so that's why now we've pivoted with the churches that we're working with to now we will train their team. We will train volunteers in their church on how to follow up with people, because there's so much power in that personal touch. And so the more intentional you are with following up with the people that plan a visit, the higher your show rate's going to be. And so you can use all those numbers to play around with this to kind of calculate what we would recommend for your ad budget. And we'll go over follow-up here in a bit. So just to break this down, I'm going to briefly touch on Meta Instant Forms. I have YouTube tutorials, and there's other YouTube tutorials. I feel like this would have been a boring presentation if I'm just like opening up Meta Ads Manager. It's like, okay, you click here, then you click this button. So just to show it to you, we recommend Instant Forms. You can customize the questions and get people to plan a visit without actually having to send traffic to your website. This works really good because you're keeping people on Instagram and Facebook. And so your CPMs, or your basically how much you're paying for the eyeballs, is way cheaper, is what we have found. And so you're able to get people to plan a visit without even having to send them to your website, because Meta will let you actually build a plan your visit form, and it's hosted on Instagram and Facebook whenever they click on the ads. And so you can watch a specific YouTube tutorial. I've got YouTube videos that I've made on how to do this. But this is a very simple process. But then from there, you're able to follow up with all the people that plan to visit, and you can even automate it to where you're getting text message notifications to follow up with them. And so that is the form that we recommend. And I definitely recommend this more than like a planning center form. If I click your plan your visit button and it opens up the Church Center app, there's too much friction, and the odds of people actually planning a visit go way, way down. So I recommend Instant Form for your website. We do a pop-up to where, like on the bottom right-hand corner of your website, it'll say like, hey, we'd love for you to visit. Click here to plan your visit. And when they click on it, there's a form there that works really, really well. And I don't recommend having too many questions, having like each kid's name and age and all of that on there. The more questions you have, the lower amount of people that you're going to have plan a visit, is what we found. And so from there, you get people to see the ad on Instagram and Facebook. They click on it. They plan a visit with the Instant Form. And now this right here, the follow-up. Plan your visit follow-ups. How do we turn them online views with people looking at your church online? They plan a visit. How do we turn the online view into butts and pews? And that's what we're going to go over here. If we look at Luke 14:23, this parable of the great banquet Jesus is sharing with his disciples, and the master is telling the servants, hey, you need to go out into the highways and the hedges and compel them to come in so that my house may be filled. And this is our opportunity right now in 2026. There's people that are interested. They're raising their hands saying, hey, I'm interested in checking out your church. What are we going to do to compel them to come in? What are we going to do to get them to actually take that step? See right here, this is Susie. Susie found your church online. She saw an Instagram ad, went to your church's website to check you guys out, and then she kept just seeing you guys over and over and over again. And she decides, you know what? I'm going to actually plan a visit. I'm going to plan a visit to Faith Church. And when she does that, there's this moment in her head where she's considering like, okay, I'm actually taking the step. They said, hey, fill out this form and they're going to follow up with me. so that me and my whole family feel welcomed, right? And so now is this opportunity to where there's a bridge connecting Susie to your church, right? What are we going to do to actually get her in there? And that bridge has got to be you, right? Either you or to train someone on your team to do this really, really well. This is honestly the difference between churches that crush it with church candy and the ones that get okay or don't get good results. If you go to churchcandy.com/proof and you see all those testimonies of God moving through it, I almost guarantee you that every single one of them, they are doing this very, very, very well. And one of the things, I mentioned it earlier, but it's that 7-minute rule. Nelson Searcy has this book. It's a great book, came out several years ago, called Fusion. And it's all about turning first-time guests into fully engaged members at your church. And he goes over this principle in this book on the 7-minute rule, right? And it's talking about how you have 7 minutes by the time someone pulls up in your church parking lot to make a good first impression. Because within those 7 minutes, they're going to make a decision on whether or not they're going to come back to your church. And so whenever someone's planning a visit, that basically starts the clock early. It starts the clock early. I mean, now we have an opportunity to make that first impression before they ever step foot onto your church. Because if they're just going to your church's website or watching some old messages on YouTube or checking out your church's Instagram, they're anonymous. But the second they plan a visit, they go from anonymous to wanting to be seen. And it's the exact same mindset as when they pull up on your church parking lot. They're going from anonymous to wanting to be seen. And so Pastor Ken Bennett, I did a podcast with him. You can look it up after this. I definitely recommend give it a listen this week. And he talks all about how their church went from 150 to 600, now over 1,000, using Facebook and Instagram ads. And the secret is it wasn't anything special with the Facebook and Instagram ads. It really wasn't. It's a lot of what I'm showing you here. But the secret was in their follow-up. The secret was how they were connecting with people. And he built an entire team in his church called their concierge team. And anytime someone planned a visit to their church, they were assigned a concierge team host. And that host would follow up with them, get on a phone with them, text back and forth with them. And they were intentional about making every single person that was interested in coming to their church feel seen. And there's 3 things that if you want to do this effectively, that you have to get right. And it starts with contacting quickly. You got to contact quickly. I know we're busy. Ministry, like a lot of you guys, you probably have like 7 job descriptions. Right? You're wearing a lot of hats. But the data blows me away every time I look at it. Harvard Business Review did a study on how organizations follow up with online leads, people that are interested in getting involved with their organizations, or business or nonprofit. And they found that if you wait more than 5 minutes to contact them, you have a 900% decrease in contact rate. Isn't that crazy? It's like people have the attention span of squirrels, right? Like they're interested in coming to your church. They want to come. They plan a visit, and then 5 minutes later, their kids start screaming, or they've got to go on to something else, or hey, they just being honest. They're using on their phone, scrolling Instagram on the toilet, and they're done with their business. And so now they've moved on to other things, right? And so you have 5 minutes to contact them. Otherwise, the odds of you actually connecting with them goes down dramatically. And so that's the first thing, contact quickly. And the second one is you got to connect deeply, right? It's one thing to contact quickly. Anyone can set up an automation and send them an email and a text as soon as they plan a visit. But how do we connect deeply? Because that's the real secret to getting them to actually show up. Because they said that they're going to plan a visit. Why? Because they want to feel seen because you told them that they were going to feel welcomed whenever you followed up. So you can't just automatically schedule a text to go out to everyone that plans a visit. You can't just rely on that. I'm going to show you another podcast to check out. This interview I did with Pastor Larry Bry, the associate pastor at Elevation Church, was all about their church guest experience strategy, how they get visitors to come back. It really changed my whole perspective on church guests and guest experience. One of the things he shared, you might have heard this, it's called the 1-day principle. And it's this exercise. I want us to all do this now. I want you to think of someone in your life personally that is far from the Lord. Who's that person that you are praying will come back to church and start living for Jesus again? Who is that person? Maybe it's a sibling. Maybe it's an aunt and uncle. Maybe it's a parent. Maybe it's a child. Maybe it's one of your kids. You're praying for them to come back to the Lord, like the prodigal son. Think of that person. Now imagine if that person told you, hey, John, this Sunday, I think I want to try church again. And you know that this is the one day that they're giving church another shot. How would you act? What would your mindset be going to church to serve that Sunday? I know for me, I would be so excited. You know, I've got a cousin. We grew up together, and now, it's crazy. We used to go to church together, and now he's off living for the world. And I pray that he comes back to Jesus. And if he told me, Brady, I'm going to come back to church. I heard a lot about your church. I want to visit it. Dude, I'd be so excited. I'd be telling the parking lot team, hey, did you hear my cousin Keegan? He's coming back to church. This is the one day he's coming. I would let the parking team know. I would let the greeters know at the front door, hey, Keegan's coming to church. I would let the kids check-in team know, hey, my cousin Keegan's coming to church, him and his wife. They've got some kids. You guys have to be ready. I want to make sure they're able to check their kids in so that they're able to focus on the message on Sunday. I would make sure the ushers had a great seat for them, right? So like whenever you think of if this is the one day someone might be trying church again, it really changes everything, right? Because you and I, we're in there every Sunday. You and I, this is the mundane Sunday after Sunday. We get it. We're used to it. But this Easter, guys, this is going to be someone's one Sunday that they're trying church again. Really think about that. And so whenever it comes to your follow-up and you're connecting with people that raise their hand and say that they want to visit your church and they fill out that plan your visit form, let's act like this is that one day for them. This is the one Sunday where they're trying church again. And with that mindset, it really shifts the actions. It's going to shift how you follow up with them, how you're texting them, how you're calling their phone, right? Whenever you have this mindset of this is the one day that they're trying church again, for all I know, your effort dramatically improves. And this is something I would encourage you when you're training the volunteer or the staff member that's going to be that's going to be following up with the people that plan a visit. Walk them through that. Talk them through that. Make sure they understand the gravity of it. Don't just give them a task and say, hey, call these people, text these people. Right? No, make sure they understand the gravity of what is happening and what this is. And make sure they're stewarding that well. All right? And so contact quickly. You want to get in touch with them as soon as possible. Connect deeply. Make sure it's not just a one-off text message, but you're really, really imagining this is the one Sunday they might be coming to church. And then the last one is commit long-term, right? This is something that it's hard work, guys. It's not easy just taking the time to send a bunch of texts and hop on the phone with these people. In Galatians, it says, let us not become weary in doing good, for the proper time we will reap a harvest if we not give up. I have to remind people at church this a lot because it's really easy for us to put a lot of effort into this. And, we have churches that we work with in the first 2 weeks of running ads, they only have like a 5 to 10% show rate. All right. And they're a little discouraged. Like, Brady, like, what's going on? Like, we had, 15 people or 15 families saying they're planning to visit, but we only had 1 or 2 show up. And I'm like, hey, life happens. Just stay consistent, following up with the people that plan to visit previously and the new people that continue to plan to visit. And then I'll have conversations with those same pastors a month later, and they're saying, wow, the people that plan to visit the first week we started running ads, it took them 6 weeks, but they finally showed up. And so it does take consistency. And the thing is, this is an Easter webinar, but this is something that we have seen God dramatically shift the culture of churches all across the country, because they're going from plateauing to growing. And so all in all, with your follow-up, I'm going to give you some like tactical things as well, and not just hype and motivation. But with the tactical, like, send this text message at this time and this phone call, you got to remember mission over method, right? Just keep in mind that there's power in the personal. And I promise, guys, I don't just talk in alliterations. This is almost a coincidence. But mission over method. It's one of our core values at Church Candy. I'm going to show you different strategies and things, but you got to find what's going to work best for your context. And as long as you're keeping the personal as a priority, then whatever works best for you guys is amazing. Now, here's some do's and don'ts. Don't just send a text that's super obviously automated. Thanks for planning a visit. We can't wait to see you on Sunday at 9 or 11 a.m. Faith Church. Dude, I know the pastor of Faith Church didn't send me that. That was a scheduled text message. It might as well have said stop to opt out underneath it. Right? Instead of sending just a bland automated text, use iMessage on your cell phone and send them a blue bubble personal text. Right? Or hey, I know that I'm Gen Z. A lot of Gen Z have phone anxiety. Maybe you just got to pick up the phone and actually call people. I know that's scary for a lot of people, but it is crazy how many people are not used to getting phone calls from people that they're not close with, right? Because we're thinking of it as a brand or an organization, but you have to think of it on the person-to-person level, right? Because you are just one person living for Jesus, going to a church, connecting with another person that's interested in going to that church and may or may not be living for Jesus, right? And so that's kind of the mindset you have to have with it. Another thing that we found works really, really well is actually filming a personal video. Or now we've seen even like voice notes, like when you send like a voice like memo or a voice note where you say the person's name and it's personalized and you send that directly to them. The first time I saw this in action, I was in Bible college and I was at it's Hill City Church with Pastor Adam McCain in Cedar Hill, Texas. I was serving there, and they're a larger church. They're running like 3 services in the morning and then the evening service. And I was playing drums at the evening service. And I don't even think I'd had a conversation with Adam McCain. I was the Bible college intern, not even an intern. I was just Bible college serving there, playing drums. And my parents come to visit from out of town. And they fill out one of the Connect cards and they write on there. They say, hey, we love church today, but we're just visiting from out of town. Our son Brady goes to CFNI and he plays the drums. So we're just coming to check it out. Well, Monday, my dad gets an email from Pastor Adam McCain. And the subject line says, I recorded a video for you. And my dad, which if you don't know, it also does digital marketing. A lot of what I know and do now, I learned from him. He immediately thought, oh, this is like the video that goes over the next steps that they send to everyone. And he clicks on it, and sure enough, it was not just a generic next steps video. This was a personalized video that Pastor Adam made for my dad. He clicks on it. Pastor Adam's got a super country accent. He's like, "Hey, thank you so much, Billy and Rusty, for coming to visit Hill City Church. Man, we're just so honored that you're visiting your son, Brady, playing the drums. We love it." I'd never talked. I don't think I'd ever met the pastor at this point. But he's going on and on. And this was like a pastor of a pretty large church took the time to send this personalized video. And my dad, he'll still bring it up today. Like he still talks about it. And that is the kind of impact that you can make with just taking the time to record a video and say someone's name and make it be personal. We had a pastor do this, and this girl posted on Facebook sharing about this. She said, "I remember when I found Ramp Church online, I filled out a form. The pastor personally sent me a video inviting me to service. That was the first thing that made me want to go. Then Sunday came and I wanted to sleep in so bad, but the pastor called me the day before, and so I said I would get up." And then she went in to talk about how it was welcoming and she loved the church. Now she's a part of the team. She serves. And the thing is, there's two things that stand out to me about this. Two things. Number one was Pastor Evan sending her a video, the personal video. That's huge. That made an impression, and that actually made her want to go. But here's the thing that so many people will see, so many churches that we work with see. Pastor Evan made a video and it made a difference to her. But notice what she says. "Sunday came and I wanted to sleep in so bad." A lot of people will end there, and that's it. But that's not what happened. See, Pastor Evan called her the day before, had a conversation, and he asked, "Ava, will I see you at church tomorrow?" And she said yes. And so already what that phone call isn't doing, it's not soliciting. It's not a sales call. It's not being pushy. That was discipleship. Because what that did is it created accountability. See, this Pastor Evan, started discipling her before she ever even stepped foot in to their church by just simply asking, "Well, I see you at church tomorrow." And that yes that she said created accountability that caused her to actually get up out of bed and go to church that day. And so that is the power of two things: personalized video and then following up with a phone call. Guys, I had a lot of other very low cost and free strategies on getting people in the doors. If you go to YouTube, I know I keep giving you guys YouTube videos. I'm just giving a lot of YouTube homework. If you search Easter Marketing Masterclass on YouTube, you'll see this video of me here where my hair was much longer and I probably weighed a little bit less. But I go over some different things that you guys can do that are free to very, very low cost. And that is going to wrap up the section on how to get them there. We spent almost an hour just talking about how do we get them there to church on Sundays. Let's go ahead, jump into how do we get them to come back, right? And so there's kind of three things that I'm going to cover on how do we get them to come back. And the first thing is going to be your actual Sunday experience on Easter. What is church like on Sunday? A lot of churches, they'll do an Easter egg hunt, or they'll get a helicopter and they'll do an egg drop, and then they do all that. Or they'll get food trucks and bounce houses. They make it a big event. All that's great. I'm not opposed to that. You'll hear some more detailed thoughts on some of that here in a second. But I think the minimum that every church on this call should do is everything you normally do on Sundays. How can we elevate that and just do it at the highest level of excellence as possible? This is our Super Bowl. right? How can we got to lock in every aspect of your Sunday service needs to be a well-oiled machine on Sunday. Because that's going to do way more than an Easter egg hunt. That's going to do way more than some food trucks at getting people to come back to your church. And it all starts with kids ministry. Oh, kids ministry. The thing is, people will look past singers singing off key. People will look past if you preach a little too long. But they will not look past a poorly ran kids ministry. They just won't. Now, this is everything from like, hey, make sure the Wi-Fi is connected well and the printers are working well before service, double, triple check everything, to having extra kids volunteers to make sure that guests are able to check in their kids quickly, like always schedule extra volunteers to help with that process. But there's really three things that I recommend kids ministries, like just do these three things well. It needs to be safe. You want to make sure that parents aren't concerned about dropping their kids off. It needs to be clean. Make sure it's sanitary. It looks nice. And the third one is it's got to be fun. You want the kids, when they get in the car, to say, Mom, Dad, can we come back? Can we come back here? It's funny. A lot of you guys might know we're working on a documentary right now about church planting. And if you've watched or kept up with the NFL, they do a docuseries every year called Hard Knocks. And it's like behind the scenes of an NFL team. What does it take to prepare for the season? So we kind of had the same concept for church planting, like Hard Knocks, but for church planting. What if we could show behind the scenes, what does it really take to plant a new church from scratch? And so we partnered with The Garden, with Pastor Manny Arango. They planted right here in Houston, Texas, just a few weeks ago. And because they were local, me and my wife, we took our kids to their grand opening. And it was great. They had a ton of people there. I think they had 1,800 people show up to their grand opening. Praise God. It was amazing. But it's so funny. The next Sunday, I'm getting my son up for church. And I was like, hey, buddy, we're going to get ready for church. And he asked, Dad, are we going to the Garden? And I was like, oh, no, like we were going to go to our church. Like we weren't planning on going to the Garden. He's like, oh, man, I really wanted to go to the Garden. And so now I'm asking my wife, like, hey, do we need to take the commute into Houston? Because we live in the suburbs. Like it's almost 30, 40-minute drive. And I was like, should we, River wants to go to the Garden. Should we go to the Garden today? And it's crazy that my 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old son had that much of an impact on me and my wife, to where we were actually considering just not going to our church and going to my friend's church that just planted, just because my son was asking, right? And like as a parent, I think you might be able to relate to this. Like if I can just get my kids excited about church, that's a win. And so you need to do everything in your power. Double, triple staff your kids' ministry on Easter to make sure it's safe, clean, and fun. Because, like I said, people will look past you preaching too long. They're not going to look past kids' ministry that seems unsafe or that's not clean or their kids are miserable and complain about it. All right. Second one, do people feel seen? Do people feel seen? So, like I said earlier, you got 7 minutes whenever someone does pull up onto your campus to make a good first impression. Because that's when they're going to make a decision on whether or not they're going to come back next week. Now, keep in mind, you're going to have a lot of guests that didn't plan a visit. So even if you go all in on your follow-up and making people feel seen before they show up because they planned a visit, you're going to have a lot of family, friends, of people that go to your church and guests that saw the ads on Instagram and Facebook and didn't plan a visit. What are we going to do to make sure they have a great first impression as well? Right? How can we move past the surface level? Hi, hello, welcome. If people look lost, do you have a host that can show them where to go? So we train our host team to ask these 3 questions, right? What made you want to check out church name? And because it's Easter, ask them. Hey, have any big Easter plans? And then this is a good one. Going back to that accountability. Will I see you next Sunday? Just ask. Just ask. And bonus points if you find them after service and ask them this question and ask how they enjoyed service, right? Whenever you do this, getting past the surface level, hey, good morning, how's it going? And smiles, and actually have real conversation with people. Like you actually care about them, right? I know this seems elementary, but it goes so far just having real conversations with people past the surface level of, hey, how are you? Good morning. Welcome to church. Happy Easter, right? If you can have a host team that's actually having real conversations with people, not just with their cliques, not just with their normal friend groups, but that are being intentional about seeking out that first-time guest and having real conversations with them, that is going to increase the likelihood that that first-time guest returns. So we talked about kids ministry, talked about people feeling seen. And the last one is simple. Did they enjoy service? Were your singers off key? Did you preach too long? What did you clearly present a gospel message? And this is where it comes down to, there's only so much in our control, right? Not everyone is going to love your church, and that's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You have to be content with saying, it's all right, we're not for everyone. But what can we control? What can we control on our end to make sure we're operating at a high level of excellence in every capacity in our ministry? This is the Sunday where we want to schedule our A-team singers. This is the Sunday where we want to schedule the A-team musicians. Don't let them see this video where I say that. But seriously, how can we make sure that we just stack the odds in our favor, that everything does go well so that people enjoy the service? And then that's going to lead us to our next thing, is getting connect cards, getting people to fill out your next step card, whether you have it as a QR code or you have them printed in the seat back pocket. I'm going to step on some toes here. I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me, and that's okay. You don't have to agree with everything I say. I think most churches have way too many questions on their connect cards. Right? Let me start by going through the slides. Give people a reason to fill it out. A church I visited recently, they donated a hot meal. They partnered with a local homeless shelter, and it cost $5 for a hot meal. And anytime someone filled out a connect card, they would donate $5 for a hot meal in their honor. And like when you explain that from the stage and like really sell that, people love that, and it gives them a reason. It's like, I didn't know if I was gonna actually fill out that connect card, but they're giving a hot meal. I'm gonna do that. And if you make it like a challenge, like we want to give 1,000 meals this month or whatever number would make sense in your context. The donating a hot meal is great. Just reach out to a local homeless shelter or organization that does this, that feeds meals to people experiencing homelessness in your area. And you're going to have a lot of people receive that really well. Or cool merch, giving people some like cool merch, emphasis on cool merch. I don't know what pastor needs to hear this. No one cares about your coffee mug. I'm sorry. Unless like it is a very, very high quality, almost like a Yeti cup, that's not moving the needle for most people. Some things that I've seen recently are like these tote bags. They're literal tote bags, like with cool designs on it. That's not just your church logo. Those are some things that work really well. You can do some research on this and find some really cool merch things. But personally, I like the donating a hot meal. I put the cool merch there because I needed another option too. But yeah, let's talk on my hot take. I think most churches have way too much information that they're trying to get from people on that connect card. Really, it should just be name, email, phone number, maybe spouse name, and then like their next step, right? Whether it's I'm new, I'd like to be baptized, I'd like to dedicate my children, I'd like to join the church, etc. Like whatever, or whatever context there makes sense for you. The more questions you have, the least amount of people that are going to fill it out, right? I don't even think on the Connect card you should ask for addresses. It's too many fields, and it's just lowering the likelihood that people are actually going to fill it out, right? You can ask for their address on your church online giving page, and boom, there you go. Now, whenever people do take that next step to actually give, you're collecting their address. But if you want to get more Connect cards, number one, give people a reason to actually fill it out. Number two, update your Connect cards and ask less questions. Now, here is the biggest game, the biggest strategy that I can give you today is this right here. It's giving people a reason to return. This is the thing that when we implemented at our church, we saw so many new families actually come back to our church. And it's because we actually gave a physical reason to return. And we didn't just give that reason. We went all in on this. And it was called Friends Day. And so, here's how it works. The Sunday after Easter, that's whenever you do the big event. That's when you get the bounce houses. That's when you get the food trucks. That's when you do the giveaways, right? A lot of people want to do that on Easter to get people in there. The thing is, people are going to come to your church on Easter regardless. Save that for the Sunday after Easter, and you're giving people one more opportunity to come back to your church, right? And so this Friends Day, promote it from the stage. Mention it before service. Have your pastor mention it at the beginning of the message and at the end, whenever you guys dismiss. Mention it minimum 3 times from the stage during the service. Your host team, the people that are connecting with the guests, encourage them to invite them. Hey, am I going to see you next day at Friends Day? Hey, I heard Los Cucos, the local Mexican restaurant, they're bringing out their food truck to Friends Day. Like, you don't want to miss that. Get the kids excited. Guys, this is borderline. I don't want to say it's borderline unethical, but if you can really hype up Friends Day to the kids in children's ministry, what are they going to do when they get in the car? When they get in the car, they're going to ask their mom and dad, Mom, Dad, can we come back next week for Friends Day? And you're increasing the likelihood that they come back to your church. Give invite cards to every single person as they walk out the door and to the kids. One thing I've seen done is literally take candy and tape it to the kids' invite card and give it to the kids. So they're like really excited and it doesn't just end up on the trash. Or like a Whole Foods dye-free fruit snack that crunchy moms would approve of, right? So go all in on this Friends Day. And I know you're sitting here thinking, Brady, this is just more work. This is just more stuff I've got to do. I've already got a million things on my plate. I get it. But you came to this call because you wanted more people to come to your church and for people to come back. And that's not going to happen by accident. It's really not. And so you got to do 2 things. You got to, number 1, pray like it's all on God. Like God's going to send people and God's going to send them back to your church. And then number 2, work like it's all on us. What can we do to increase the likelihood that people are actually going to come back to our church and make a decision that could change their lives forever? And so this is where having that concierge team, that follow-up team really comes into play. Every single guest, whether they plan to visit or not, anyone that planned to visit, if we have their information in Planning Center, if we have their information in church funnels, every single person, they are getting a phone call. They are. Phone call, and here's a hack. If you send them a text before you call them and say, "Hey, this is Brady," right? And then you call them, it'll say maybe Brady on their phone whenever it's dialing instead of just your phone number. And so it's a higher likelihood of them answering. A lot of people, I know myself, keep their phone on do not disturb 24/7. So double dial when you call and it goes to voicemail, just immediately call back again. You got a high likelihood of them actually answering. Personal text invitation. This is a blue bubble, not just something automated. You can do automated too, but like this really moves the needle. Having actual real conversations with people, personally inviting them to Friends Day, as well as an email campaign, an email sequence. Here's some quick email marketing 101. What I found worked best is keeping it personal, like it's from the pastor. And then I would have 1 to 3 sentences per paragraph, not just like one text. It's not on here. Don't just have ChatGPT write it. If it's full of M dashes or emojis, it's obviously AI slop. People are just going to ignore it. Make it like actual personal written from a human. And then I give a call to action with a next step. Like, so if you're, let's say, for example, like we're in Houston, the Astros are huge here, regardless of what you think of the Astros. Let's say our church, we're giving away 4 Astros tickets at our Friends Day. So we could say we're giving away 4 Astros tickets, or we're giving away 4 tickets to an Astros game at Friends Day. When you RSVP on our website, you get an extra entry, right? You give them a reason to actually click on a form and fill it out and RSVP to Friends Day by saying they get an extra entry into the drawing if they RSVP. That'll do 2 things. Number 1, you're able to follow up with them, remind them about Friends Day. And then number 2, gather their info. You run a Facebook and Instagram ad campaign, sending traffic to that form as well. I would send 4 to 6 emails. The first one going out Sunday night, all the way until Saturday afternoon. And here is something else you can do. You can leave the email body generally the same, and switch out the email subject lines. And so, guys, I've rambled for just over an hour and 15 minutes. It's time to give you some homework from a 30,000 foot view. Be on the lookout. We're going to send the replay out relatively soon after this call, so you can go back and watch over it. Make sure you have the workbook and all of this. But here's some practical things that you can implement as soon as we're done to get ready for Easter. Number 1, go ahead and film some Easter ads and get them scheduled to go out. I would recommend 2 weeks before Easter minimum on as far as how long they should run. And then I would find 1 or 2 people to help you follow up with all the people that plan to visit. And then the third thing is Friends Day. Plan a Friends Day for the Sunday after Easter. Guys, I know it sounds simple, and I know it sounds like extra work, but I guarantee you do this and you execute it properly, you are going to have the biggest Easter ever, and you're going to see the highest percentage of repeat visitors than you ever have before. And then on that Friends Day, it's just another opportunity for your team to connect with those people and have real deep, meaningful conversations. And that's my time, guys. That's all I've got for you. I wanted to mention, if you want me and my team to build out your ads and train your team on the follow-up, you actually can get a free month of church candy. So we'll get you on board to get you signed up. And I believe it's either March or April is free. I have to double check with the team, but we'll give you a free month of service for, I think it's like the first 50 churches that sign up. And that's all I got for you guys. So feel free to schedule a call with the church candy team there, and have questions, and we can chat and see if it's a good fit.